The NAIA National Championship Game has come to the end, and the Langston Lions came up just short, losing to Freed Hardeman 71 to 67, putting an end to their 16-game win streak and then their season with a 35-2 overall record. Langston fought valiantly, leading by as many as 13 points in the second half, and were up 66 to 61 in the final minute of the game. But Freed Hardeman just 67-61, excuse me, in the final minute of the game. But Freed Hardeman put on that full court press and forced some turnovers and were able to rally for the win. And Freed Hardeman is your NAIA national champions. But a lot of HBCU fans are not happy. They feel like the referees did Langston a disservice in this game. A lot of missed foul calls down the stretch. And just want to share with you guys some of the reaction from people on Twitter as they have voiced their displeasure to the refereeing in the game. We have one Twitter user that says, "I ain't never been one to blame the officials, but that what them NAIA refs just did to Langston is trash. You got refs gave them boys every call down the stretch, but swallowed the whistles for Langston. You got Langston's press management was awful, but the refs were hella inconsistent in the last minute of the game. And the NAIA National Championship Game is a disaster." That we'll talk about that in a second. But there's a lot of people who are talking about the refs. I need them refs to look into who was over the Langston game. That was BS. There's a lot of apologize for the language in some of these tweets, but there's a lot of people who are lambasting the officials for their poor officiating down the stretch. Now, they were talking about what the confetti was. So with, I believe, 12 seconds left, Langston came down and were down 70 to 67. They came down looking for a three to tie the game. They missed a three, and Freed Hardeman tapped it back out. They recovered the ball, and Langston looked to have fouled the players, but it looked like time had expired. And in that time, the confetti had already sounded, and we all thought the game was over. The clock had already hit triple zeros. The confetti had fallen, and the referees went to the review booth and to see if there needed to be more time put back on the clock. This led to a lengthy review, and they decided to put 0.2 seconds back on the clock. So they decided they wanted to sweep up the confetti that had shot in the air once we thought the game was over, which took about a good 5 to 10 minutes to sweep up, only for Freed Hardeman to hit a free throw out of two to finally end the game. So that's what you saw there. But there's a lot of people who are very upset about the officiating in this game. My take on it is, yes, there was a lot of missed calls. There was a lot of swallowing of the whistle down the stretch by the referees and against Langston down the stretch. But in the end, I think even Langston would say that the turnovers in this game was a big reason why they lost. They committed 8 in the first 10 minutes of the second half when they were up 13, and it allowed Freed Hardeman to stay in the game because they were doing very well defensively in the half court. They were defending them well in their half court, defending Freed Hardeman's half court offense very well, but a lot of times Freed Hardeman themselves were playing well defensively, getting stops, and they would leak out for buckets in transition. And that's what allowed them to keep the game close, was their ability to force turnovers and to draw fouls on Langston. So I think that is another big. I think the officiating was not very good, but a lot of the game was Langston's turnovers and their ability to take care of the ball. But despite all of that, they were still able to build a lead, and they led for the majority of the game. But it's just down the stretch, execution is very important. And Langston, they struggled against that, the defensive pressure of Freed Hardeman. But the officiating is the story of this game. There's a lot of people who have voiced their displeasure on social media. If you were watching the game, please let us know how you thought about the officiating down in the comments, and let us know, did you think it was fair? Was it unjust? Does Langston have an argument for the referees giving them a raw deal in this game? Because this was a game in which Langston, they were looking to become the first team to win first HBCU team to win an NAIA national championship since 1977, and they looked like they were on their way to do that. But they faltered down the stretch, and Freed Hardeman, they kept playing, and ultimately they walked out national champions. But let us know how you feel about the game down in the comments, and just congratulations to Langston on a great basketball season. I hope this doesn't overshadow the accomplishment that they have their accomplishments this season. Head coach Chris Wright, this is his second time leading a team to a national championship in the past 3 years. And this is a team that only won one game, before he took over for Langston. They won one game the season prior to him taking over. So I think we need to give Chris Wright his flowers and just acknowledge the incredible job he did with this team. And this team is not going anywhere. They will be here next year. They are going to be ready to compete once again for a national championship, and we will be there to support them in their hopes for a national championship. But again, let us know down in the comments what you thought about the officiating in this game.